الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين ما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. As the tradition goes, Bismillah. I don't know what it is. That's probably why I'm too hyper. I got too much fizzy drink. Allahumma barik. Now, the copyright infringement or copyright complaint made by the cult members of Mr. Effendi, it hasn't gone anywhere. It's unsuccessful. You can do what you want. And as I said before, you're content with your bid'ah. Now, my message to Mr. Effendi and his cult members, let me be absolutely clear, concise and direct. If I just focus on your videos to show how you are people of innovation and not focus on anything else, just solely on you and your videos, I could literally cover 2 to 3 years worth of videos. So carry on with your copyright infringements. YouTube have already made it clear. And you've got the message as well. And I've got all the messages that you've been responding to YouTube. YouTube's on my side. Because fair use is fair use. I'm using your videos under the fair use policy. Or fair usage, should I say. Or fair dealings. However, which depends on what country you're in. Every time I watch something of Mr. Effendi, it shocks me even more and more. And that's surprising, right? Very surprising. So without further ado, listen to this particular nonsense he comes out with.
The Ottoman awliya, they are saying that when the Byzantine emperor was building Hagia Sophia, that the foundation, it wasn't working. And in his dream, he saw Khidr alayhi salam, who gave him the plans and said, look, this is the building plan for Hagia Sophia, which were drawn long ago on the tablet of destiny. So even the name Hagia Sophia came from the paradises. The meaning came from the paradises. The Ottoman awliya said that Hagia Sophia itself, the meaning of it is Ibadat Gah, the place of worship. Awliya Chalabi Hazardari is saying that on the night of the Mawlid Nabi, the dome of Hagia Sophia fell down. And Khidr alayhi salam came to the king of that time and told them to go to Arabia, find that last messenger, find the promise of Isa alayhi salam, find the promise of Musa alayhi salam, find the promise of Sulaiman alayhi salam, find the promise of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and ask him for help. Years later, they went, the royal delegation from the Byzantine king, to the Holy Prophet alayhi salam, who mixed his blessed saliva with the water of Zamzam. They returned with 70 camels loaded with Zamzam in the soil of Mecca and returned to Istanbul. They used it for the mortar of the Hagia Sophia, which kept the dome in place. So when Fatih Sultan entered Istanbul, and when he entered Hagia Sophia, he was entering the house of Allah. He was entering a place that had been built on the order of the heavens. He was entering a place that had been inspired through the order of Hazrat Khidr alayhi salam. He was entering a place that was held together and held up by the blessings of the Holy Prophet alayhi salam. He was entering a place that was his holy inheritance, just as the Kaaba Sharif was the holy inheritance of the Holy Prophet alayhi salam.
Anyone who don't know, the Hagia Sophia was built by the Byzantines, and they built it before the Prophet ﷺ. I don't know how long before. I think 50, 60 years before. Some say it was built and then it got burnt down, or I don't know the full story, but the Ottoman lovers could correct me if I'm wrong. Let's respond to this fairy tale and rubbish from Mr. Effendi. Byzantines were in the process of creating Hagia Sophia, so they're laying the foundations, and they were struggling for whatever reasons. So Mr. Effendi mentions that the Ottoman walis, or the valis, said that the Byzantine emperor saw a dream, and he saw a dream of Khidr alayhi salam. Now Khidr, okay, Khidr alayhi salam. I think it's in Turkish. So Khidr alayhi salam said to the Byzantine emperor, look, I'm going to tell you how to build this. I'm not quoting verbatim, but you know what I mean. And to add, the Byzantines were Trinitarian Christians. So Khidr alayhi salam was going to teach the Byzantine empire to build the Hagia Sophia so that it could be used for other than worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Tawheed's out the window, right? Would Khidr alayhi salam help the Byzantines worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Okay, that's a different story. So anyway, the plans were made. Mr. Adam stopping and going back, there's so much fairy tales. I got to remember what he's saying. So what happened? Thereafter, one of the domes of the Hagia Sophia fell. So Khidr alayhi salam went to the Byzantine emperor. Listen to this rubbish. Khidr alayhi salam went to the Byzantine emperor and said to him, look, you have to go to Arabia. You got to go to find the last prophet alayhi salatu salam. So the actual Nasara was told by Khidr alayhi salam to go to Arabia. Listen to this. They're reaching out to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam for help so that they can build a kanisa so that other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could be worshipped. So the Prophet ﷺ indirectly is assisting in other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be worshipped. Look at that. So anyway, years later, the Byzantine delegation went to Arabia and met the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Honestly, Effendi, what's wrong with you? Honestly. So when they went to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he went to Zamzam and spat in the Zamzam well. And they loaded up 70 camels with, Zamzam. Okay, so let me go back because I have to remember what he said. But when they returned back to Istanbul or Constantinople, okay, so it wasn't called Istanbul at that time. It was called Constantinople from Emperor Constantine. And then later in Arabic is Constantinia. And then after that it was changed to Istanbul and then Istanbul. Okay, but anyway, leave that. That's just a little sort of, in-depth correction. So when they went back to, Constantinople or Istanbul or Istanbul, the Zamzam water basically helped the dome stay in place, I think, or the foundation. I don't know what happened, but anyway. So I take it the Zamzam water helped the dome stay in place. Now listen to this. This is when Mr. Effendi utters some absolute rubbish. He says that now Mr. Effendi mentioned something very strange. He says, this place, meaning the Hagia Sophia, it's like one of the holy places of Islam. It's just a mosque that was converted from a church. This was from the order from paradise. Now this is like what you call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered, this building as some sort of muqaddisa or one of the muqaddisat, and it was from the order from paradise, and it was inspired by the order of Khidr alayhi salam. So they love this secretive nonsense, don't they? It's just to keep their followers in check, scam them for whatever money they can, and they're gullible enough to believe this. So, and then he mentioned at the end about Muhammad al-Fatih, this was his inheritance, and look at the comparison, subhanAllah, look how great the comparison is, that this is the inheritance of Muhammad al-Fatih rahmatullah alayh, the same way as the Kaaba was the inheritance of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Look at the comparison. A message to Mr. Effendi and his cult members. In Islam, we don't accept fairy tales. Unfortunately, this is a fairy tale like no other. Roald Dahl wrote BFG, Roald Dahl wrote Matilda. All of these books that are not real. This story is just garbage. And you're lying. Ittaqillah. Is it like the biggest lie against the highest positions? Like, you from all people, you are ignorant. And those who follow you, I feel sorry for you. I honestly, I do. I changed my mind. I didn't before, but now I do. I have no doubt in my mind this guy's an innovator. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. You can say you're not a mujtahid. How can you make tabdi' on him? It's clear. You're blind if you can't see this guy's an innovator. Let's be friends. I'm not even looking for it. I'm just listening, just interested to see what he's got to say. And he's spewing nothing but rubbish. Okay? So take care of yourselves. Look in the car. I ain't going to put my camera out and get the lights and, no need for it. Sit in the car, have a little quick video and edit it on my phone. I don't need to go pull up my laptop and pull it on the Premiere Pro 2022. Using Premiere Rush. Alright, so take care of yourselves. Sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad.